My name is Derek Hobine. I'm the Chief Operating and Financial Officer for North Dakota PERS, and I'm happy to be here today to present ESS. The first segment that we're going to get into is talking about the ESS platform, show you navigation, show you some tips. ESS, the very first thing that you're going to see is what you see on your screen here. This is what we consider our home page, and there's a lot of information that's happening here. But ultimately, there's three different ways that you can navigate throughout the ESS environment. There's the left navigation pane, there are the center tiles, and then there's the upper navigation in the upper right-hand corner. And I'm going to start by going through what each one of those buttons are, what they do, and what information is present within each one of those buttons. So the first button that you see on the top right is a home, and that is basically taking you back to this front screen. So no matter how far into ESS you get, no matter where you're navigating to, if you happen to get lost, you can always click home and you'll always come back here so that you can get a fresh start. The next button beside this is the Contact Us button, which is a great way for you to contact the special department that you need to help resolve whatever issues you're experiencing through your payroll reporting process. If you have specific questions on things like enrollments, on transfers, if you're having new hire or termination questions, it gives you the names, numbers, and email for all of our enrollment division. Same thing for payroll reporting. Each one of our programs has different accountants that are assigned to the program. And there you can see if you have a retirement question, you have the name, the phone number, and the email addresses for our individuals that help on our retirement program. And then you also can see our IT staff. So if you're encountering technical issues like the system seems to be down, if you're trying to print a remittance report and nothing is popping up, you can get in touch with our IT team to see if it's something that's going on like with the state network, or if it's something that maybe you as an agency are experiencing. A lot of people print that out, put it on their work board, their bulletin boards, or have it somewhere that they're quickly and easily able to access. You can also pull it up directly within ESS at any time if you wish as well. The next button is a button that not all payroll contacts are going to have, but if you happen to be an authorized agent for multiple organizations, this button, the switch to a different contact, allows you to quickly and easily jump back and forth between the organizations that you are servicing. So again, the only time that you're going to have that is if you are part of multiple organizations. If you're not, that button just simply won't be there at all. The next button over kind of looks like a little tiki hut. That's what I like to consider like a save your settings type of button. And I'm going to show you different ways that you have the ability to customize what you see within ESS, the layout, the format, which columns you're actually seeing. That is a save your settings button so that you don't have to continuously adjust the settings within ESS every time you go in. If you get the setup the way you like it, you click that button. Next time you come in, your settings will be saved. Of course, the left arrow is just going back to the previous screen that you were on. And the final button is what you do to log off of ESS. So next I'm going to go through the main grid. And so these four big tiles are quick links to the main functionality that are present within ESS itself. And so the first tile off on the left is going to be in regards to payroll reporting. And this button here is my new favorite button that we implemented back in March of 2021 when we went live with the MVVM platform. This is a quick stop for you anytime that you have anything that requires your attention. And that could be either errors on your payroll report or simply having to make a payment. That is your indicator to know that we need your help with something. And to know before you even go there, if there is a red new button showing here, it means we need your help. If there are no payroll reports that we need your attention on, that new button, this little red new, will not appear. And so you can quickly and easily see when you log into ESS, oh, there's something new. I need to go here to see what kind of problems we're experiencing on our payroll reports. And for this organization, you can see that there's two different situations going on here. There's one payroll report that's in a posted no remittance status, which basically means that this payroll report is locked, it's finalized, it's good to go. We just need you to log in and make a payment against it. The top payroll header is in review. And so when you're talking retirement specifically, there's three different situations with or three different statuses. There's review, meaning there are some kind of errors present either within the payroll reports or your individuals themselves. There's a valid status, which means everything within the report looks good. Our payroll processors just need to pick it up and post it. And then once it's posted, that's the status that you need in order to make payments against it. Our payroll reports are very similar. To keep the presentation a little more condensed, I'm strictly going to focus on retirement and kind of walk through the components of the header, components of the payroll details, the type of things that we're up against so that you understand the proper way to work through payroll reports and get in touch with our office. So once we get through this top one, we'll come down here and I'll show you how the debit ACH process also works. So anytime you see something underlined in blue, that means that it's a hyperlink. So if you want to go into the payroll report itself, you can just click the hyperlink and it'll take you to your invoice. Now we use a number of different vocabulary terms when we're talking about payroll reports. So you may hear us say it's a header, you may hear us say it's a report, you may hear us say it's an invoice. All three of those things can be used interchangeably here. But ultimately your payroll report is our invoice to you of what we need you to pay for your retirement contributions for the month. And so when you take a look at this, there's a number of boxes that we try to capture to help you along the way in reconciling through what's going on. So when we're talking about uploaded amounts, these are the amounts at the point in time that you are giving your payroll report to us. So that's the initial snapshot, the totals before anything has taken place. The reported amounts are the amounts that are from your payroll, and the calculated amounts are the totals that we are saying you should owe based on the wages you're giving us. So calculated amount means that's PERS calculations. Reported amounts are the amounts coming from your payroll. Uploaded amounts are the snapshot in time that we receive your reports. And the payroll report is structured so that when you come into it, the header is basically your summary. So this is a summarization of everything that is taking place, all of your employees summarized up into one total. As you scroll down and you can see the status right here, we have it in review with errors. And so before we can finalize it, those errors need to be resolved. So as you begin scrolling down, there's a further report summary that breaks down plan by plan, the amounts that you're reporting. Have we applied any payments or have we applied any negative adjustments to your account can be found here. And the total amount currently due is still right here. And then you get to the report section that talks about the details, and detail would basically be employee by employee, what is making up this invoice. And here you can see we have 8 details or 8 employees that have no issues with them. We have 1 employee that's causing a problem. And if you jump down below, you can see there are 2 different report errors, meaning there are errors with the invoice as a whole. And basically we're telling you that the total wages and total contributions that you're reporting have to match what we're calculating they should be. And here you can see wages are the same, but the amount of contributions are different. And then, of course, 1 or more detail is in review. You can't post your header till all details are either valid or posted. And once that's all done, that's when your header can be finalized. And at the detail level, we have 1 detail that has an error. And basically it's saying that your contribution rates need to match. And so if you strictly want to look at the details that are in review, again, you can use the hyperlink. Now that we're at the payroll detail lookup, this is where I want to take the opportunity to look at customizing ESS to meet your needs, because there's a lot of information in this grid, and there's a lot of information that may or not be meaningful to your organization. So there's a few things that we offer from this grid to help you in your reconciling to your payroll versus what we're billing you. First, I mean, accountants love Excel, right? We love to put the things in Excel, do pivot tables and compare them against our payroll. That's what this export to Excel functionality is. We can give you the billing details in Excel so that you can quickly and easily compare that to your payroll system. Before you ever export anything, you can pick and choose which records you would like to see. And so if you're saying, I don't really care about interest because it's something my organization is going to be paying, you can remove them before ever exporting it to Excel. And then you'll get strictly the contributions that you're hoping for in the grids, in the columns that you're wanting to see in an Excel format. Even better, though, is anywhere that you see this little gear looking box, this is where you have the ability to customize your settings. So if you click on that little gear box, you can say, I don't want to see 1,000 details at a time. It's too overwhelming. I only want to see 10. You know, if I don't really care what the detail ID is, that's a PERS number only. It doesn't mean anything to me. I can shut that off from ever seeing it. If I want to know what the PERS link ID is first, you have the ability to just click and drag that to where you want that to appear within the columns. And then once you hit the apply button, you can see that the payroll detail ID disappears. The PERS link ID is now what's first. And now when you go up to here, you click this little tiki hut and click OK. That means next time you come in here, you won't have to continuously do those same customizations. The next time you get to the payroll detail lookup screen, it'll be in the order that you want it to be in. So if you want to open up this payroll detail, now all of a sudden you're getting into person by person what you're reporting for wages and contributions on every single employee that you have. So the very top grid is just your header information talking about your organization, the report number, the header ID, the invoice number. That's meaningful to us if you're reaching out to our agency to try to get help with what's taking place. Down below is all of your information relating to your employee. And so just to give you an idea of the type of volume that our office works through, we have over 450 different employers. We have 25,000 active members in our retirement system. And every single detail that we get in our office has to go through 21 different validations before we post it. So we're talking nearly 500,000 validations that have to be met every single month in our office to complete our payroll reporting process. So some things that come into play, we have to make sure that the last name and the first name match the social security number. And again, we're in a test environment with scrambled data, so we're not disclosing anything that's confidential within the system. We need to know the reporting month, what plan they're in, and is this a regular report? Is it an adjustment? Is it a bonus? Is it retro payment? So on and so forth. And down below, you can see what the issues are. So based on wages of $29.45.34, the contribution rates say that we should have withheld $206 in our payroll system, but we only withheld $194. So that's the issue. And I can't move forward until you agree with the numbers that we are showing. So based on wages of $29.45, we should have withheld $206 from our employee's paycheck. The employer should have paid $209, and it looks like we set up RHIC correctly. So ultimately, we're stuck now until we get this resolved. And so we're going to make comments similar to what Robin said earlier in her presentation. We want to try to give meaningful comments to provide direction to PERS so that they don't have to call me and get clarification at all. And so a comment that you can make here maybe is just that I agree the reported contributions were set up incorrectly. Please update the numbers and post the detail, and I'll correct the withholdings on our next payroll. So there is nothing that you can do here to resolve this situation. This is a situation where our office needs to validate what's going on. If you provide this direction, as our processor picks it up, they will just update the numbers, process it, and let you know that it's posted, ready to go. Things that you do have the ability to control are like updates to the last name. If you see that you typed Johnson and this individual maybe got married and she's now a Sanders, You have the ability to update that here to get this payroll detail valid, but you also want to make sure that you're doing those updates with our office so this payroll doesn't continuously come into review on an ongoing basis as well. If you accidentally selected the wrong plan, you can correct the plan. But if it's anything contribution related, that's something that our office has to take into consideration. So again, saved this one, nothing I can do. When our payroll report processors come through, pick it up, they'll validate it, and they'll send it through. So again, back to this home button, no matter how far, if you want to get back to that second report, you can either go back 6 or 7 screens, or you can quickly go to the home page, come back here, and you're quickly able to see the second report that is in a posted status that's strictly looking for payment to be associated with it. So the Debit ACH process is set up fairly easy. I mean, when you go, your report's posted. Here you can see all of the amounts that are finalized now. Here you can see plan by plan what you're going to be paying. The remittance report serves as like a physical invoice. So if you are wanting to get a hard copy invoice signed off on, or if you want the paper copy that you're saving for audit purposes, this is your quote unquote hard copy invoice that we're providing you. And when you click the Debit ACH button, the total amount that you're going to pay is down here, the amount due. So if you need sign-off authority on anything before you click that Debit ACH button, this is something that you could route throughout your organization, have your supervisor sign off on it. Once you have that signed off, once you click the Debit ACH button, you're going to get a notification saying that your payment was submitted to PERS. When you click OK, you'll notice that the button changes and now says cancel the request. That's your indication that is set up and ready to be processed. We process ACHs once a day, roughly 3 to 3:30. And once we process those payments, or once we process that pull, the allocation batch will run, and this header will be changed and marked as a posted and balanced status. And once that happens, the other thing that comes into play, it also drops off of this screen. Once you've made payment, there is nothing further that we're asking in regards to this report. So once payment's applied, it just disappears, never shows up here. And that's why I love this screen. That's a screen that we previously didn't have. So that's kind of your Bible. This is the easiest thing to say, I want to go here when I know there are issues going on. If there are payments that somehow attach to one of these reports, or if you're wondering historical reports, we also offer the ability to look up your payroll reports on a historical basis as well. And so when you take a look here, you can say there's different criteria, right? And so if you just want to say, I want to look at every report that was submitted to our office within the last year, you can just say, I want to look from January 2021 forward. Here you'll see that they're in sequential number or sequential order. And so if, let's just say, this adjustment report was a report that I had no idea existed, and my new report is showing that I owe $2,192.31. Well, this is an easy way to see adjustment reports that maybe you previously didn't realize were out there. And so when you click in here, you can go into the report itself, see what's going on, and ability to just look at payroll details themselves. If you don't want to look at the invoice as a whole, you also have the ability to just search for payroll details from a specified point in time. So let's just say you want to look at every retirement detail from January 2021 forward. To get the criteria you're looking for, you can get a full result of everything that's taken place within the last year. Now, ignored details are basically things that we never delete anything out of our system, but it's items that theoretically have been deleted, so to speak. And so that's all items that no longer exist in the system. If you are an organization that uploads your payroll reports, this is where you go to drop in the files on a monthly basis. So when you come here, It'll say you're navigating away, but then you can say what type of payroll report you want to bring to our office. And I'm going to upload a retirement report, and it's just a text file. So wherever you've saved your text files from your QuickBooks software or Software Unlimited, whatever your payroll software happens to be, this is where you can grab your text file. When you click the upload, you'll get an indication saying that it's been submitted to PERS. It could take a few minutes to process, but that's how you know that you've successfully at least submitted your report to PERS. Whether it creates as another story, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but you know that it's currently within our office. If you are an organization that manually reports, you can also create new payroll reports. And so if you're creating a retirement report for December of 2021, what you do here is you basically are just putting in the wages, and we are calculating your invoice or the amount due for you. And so you can say that I've got, 1,000 wages and I owe $152.26, but that may or may not be true based on what you're reporting down here. And so that's the situation where we really like you, if possible, to upload your payroll file so that we can get a true representation of what is coming off of your payroll software. If you are strictly inputting wages and we are calculating the numbers, if you've done changes throughout the year, like maybe the employer, instead of giving raises, is now going to pick up another % or 2 of the employee contribution, without you telling us that, or without us receiving a payroll file directly from your system, if you forgot to notify us, we would be totally oblivious to that kind of change. That's why we really prefer to get the information directly off your payroll and have you upload the payroll reports if at all possible. On the next section we're going to talk about is basically maintaining your employees, how to add employees, how to terminate employees, when you've submitted a new employee, kind of what takes place, and that all happens within your employee panel in ESS. And anytime you're going to notice that navigation, anytime you have unsaved changes somewhere, this will lead you, you'll get that error message saying that you've done something on a screen that hasn't been saved, and that's what this little disk represents. So if you try navigating off and you forgot to save, you'll get those notifications so that you don't accidentally leave a page before saving your information. So we're just going to go through and we're going to set up a new employee, and we're going to just set up Donald Duck. And so all of this information are things that you're going to want to know going into this. What is the gender? What is the marital status, the SSN, the address? The birthday, the gender, and the marital status are all crucial elements for our office, because ultimately those are data elements that are important for actuarial analysis. And so in order to ensure we have good actuarial information, that all needs to be accurately filled out before it comes to our office. So I'm just going to make up an address here. We require some type of phone, either a home phone or a cell phone, work phone. It doesn't really matter. As far as the address is concerned, we really want a PO box or the mailing address of the employee, not necessarily the physical address. If we have to send this information out in the mail, we want to make sure that the address that we have is the correct mailing address. And what you're going to notice here is when we click next, if this address isn't entered exactly how the US Postal Service has it in their system, it will kick out an error saying that it's invalid. Please enter a valid address. If you review it and you are positive that this address is what the member wants it to be, you have the ability to suppress the error and move forward by indicating this little check mark. But again, we really prefer a mailing address versus the employee's physical address. The other thing that we want to stress is that we don't really necessarily want the employee's work email. We would prefer that if you don't know what the personal email is or what email that member prefers to be communicated with our office through, we'd actually prefer that you just leave it blank versus putting or guessing one in. And so I know that Donald Duck has Donald Duck at Gmail. We're going to put that in, and we're going to continue on in the progression of the wizard. So this new hire wizard tells you a number of data elements that we're going to talk about, and it drives eligibility within our office based on how you're answering these questions. So you want to make sure that you're not just guessing, or if you have clarification, please reach out to our enrollment team before actually moving forward within this wizard. Because if you set them up wrong, what's going to happen when you submit your payroll is we're going to have to reach out to you and get clarification anyway. So if you're ever not comfortable with answering these questions, contacting our enrollment team at this point is preferred versus just trying to guess to the best of your ability. So if this is an employee that's not appointed or elected, it's going to be a non-state employee. We want to know if they are a permanent employee or a temporary employee. The retirement participation status, contributing basically means that they're going to be participating in our retirement plan. Non-contributing means they won't be participating. Hourly, if you select yes, that's just an indication that we may or may not expect wages to go up and down based on how many hours that employee is working. So it's nice to know when we're doing final outreach, when someone retires, if they're hourly, we're expecting some variances in salary to take place. And then we'd also like to know basically if they are seasonal. So do they work less than 12 months? Do they work a full 12 months? And with the schools in particular, there's a lot of situations that can take place with schools, and employees may be different even within the same organization. So you may have a school employee who maybe works 9 months, but they're saying, I want to be paid over 12 months. That would be a 12-month employee for us because we're expecting 12 retirement contributions in that situation. If they are an employee that works 9 months and they are saying they're going to get paid over 9 months, that's a seasonal employee for us. So we're going to say it's a seasonal employee and we're going to expect 9 months of contributions. One of the things that we do is we take a look at every single employee that's in our retirement plan who is contributing, and we compare, did we receive a contribution for every month that that employee is contributing or not? And if we have months of missed deposits, we actually do outreach to the employers to try and get clarification. So this is a way for us to know if we only get 9 months of contribution, that's okay because that's all that we're expecting. And basically the last page is certifying that you've reviewed the information, that it all looks good. Once you finish it, it comes basically to PERS and is waiting for us to process at this point in time. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is terminating employees. So every time you have someone that leaves your organization, that's also something that you're going to have to take a look at and submit to our office. It's also another situation that we want to make sure you're not guessing when you're talking about these types of questions, because this will impact not only how your agency reports your monthly contributions to PERS, it also will influence what day your employees are eligible for retirement as well. And so let's just say that you're an organization where your payroll period runs from December 1st to December 31st, and you pay your employees on January 1st. So you have a monthly cycle with one paycheck per month. And let's just say that this employee is going to leave on December 31st of 2021. The last check this person is going to get is January 2022. And we want to know what the last month for retirement contributions is going to be. And this will vary employer by employer. Some employers will report to us based on their pay period end date. And so if you're an employer that reports based on pay period end date, the correct answer that the last month for retirement that we're going to get is December of 2021. If you're an organization that reports by pay check date, so if the January 1st check date is January wages, even though this individual never worked a day in January, we are expecting January retirement contributions in this kind of situation. So if we're going to say that we're an employer that reports by pay check date, the last month that we're going to get contributions is January 2022. And again, that's something that we prefer you don't guess on, because that is the date that impacts whether your employee is eligible to retire, if they're looking at retirement age. That is also a situation where if you tell us December 2021, we're going to process it December 2021. When you report January wages, this detail is going to come into review saying that this person can't have wages after their termination date. And so trying to get this right up front just means that it's less headache down the road. And when you finish, again, it's been submitted to PERS. It's in our hands for processing at this point in time. You also have the ability to view or update employees. So if you are that situation where every single year you're a school, sometimes an employee may say they want to be paid over 9 months. Sometimes they may want to be paid over 12 months. You have the ability to update that information in ESS as well. So at the top, you can actually get the member information. This has the welcome letter as well. So when you submitted Donald Duck's new hire to us, when we process it, this new letter, this welcome letter on our new hires is available for you to print out and give to them. If it's like a situation where this individual isn't going to be in your office, they're going to be working out in the field somewhere, and you want to try to get this person hired and enrolled in their plans the same day, you can do that with them and get access to this welcome letter, which is also a letter that we will physically mail to the employee. But you can get it sooner and get their elections done same day if you so choose. You also have the ability to update their address. And then here is where you can actually update the employment. So this is where you can put them on or off leave of absence, or you can do the update employment, which is basically talking about that same wizard that we walked through when we set up the new hire. This allows you to change their seasonality, so on and so forth, directly from this employee landing screen. And then you also have the ability to see any type of pending request that we have. Here you can see the new hire for Donald Duck that we just submitted is still under PERS review. And that's where you can see whether or not we've processed the employment for these individuals. And same with these pending changes. If we had happened to submit someone as a changing their seasonality, this is a request that I submitted yesterday, so that something would show up here in the grid. You can see we're still working on it because it's under PERS review. Once we've posted it, you'll get notifications both here and it will drop off of your grid here so that you never have to worry about it again. The Reports and Resources tab is another very critical tab for you guys to get familiar with if you haven't done so already. The Benefit Enrollment Report is the key to letting you know whenever elections to your employees have been made. So you can generate your benefit enrollment report by clicking the Generate button. We're not going to have any because I just generated this a couple days ago. But when you open up your benefit enrollment report, this will show you employee by employee what elections these employees are making, when the changes are effective, if there are dollar amounts or premiums associated with your elections, those are also populated within the benefit enrollment report. This is where, again, we don't want you guessing what retirement plan each employee is going to be part of. This is how you know whether this individual should be in the main 2020 plan or the main plan. So at a minimum, you want to make sure that you are running this report every time you are processing a payroll. Larger organizations run this every single day and make changes on a daily basis. Some organizations will do it weekly. It doesn't really matter how frequently you do it. I would say the larger the agency, the more often you're going to want to be running this report. But at a minimum, in order to make sure that your payroll reports are correct, you want to be doing this as you're running your payroll or as you're finalizing your payroll to make sure if any changes have taken place, they are captured here. Other reports that are available within ESS are a report that shows you all of your employees that are on a leave of absence. I talked earlier about missing retirement contributions, where every single month that someone is enrolled in our retirement plan, we are expecting a contribution. If you have someone showing up here, it either means you forgot to put them on a seasonality factor, forgot to put them on LOA, you maybe forgot to terminate someone, you maybe forgot to submit retirement contributions in general. or it's possible that you lumped contributions together and those need to be spread within our office and processed. We follow up with employers on a monthly basis with those individuals that we are missing retirement contributions for. And we'd ask that you please try to get to that as soon as you possibly can. We're trying our best to make sure all members are accounted for the way that they should be, trying to make sure that employees have accurate benefit estimates that are going out, accurate annual statements. All of that can be impacted if the information showing up on those reports is not resolved. We also provide a report showing that people who are maybe a permanent status who are expecting to be in the retirement plan but are not yet enrolled. This report is becoming less and less meaningful because we are now in a process where as we are posting employment, we are actually enrolling employees into the retirement plan at the point in time that we're posting your employment. So this very, very rarely will have anything that ever shows up in it. And then we provide another quick link just to the payroll reporting where you can submit your payroll reports or view the payroll reports. And the final tab is an organization profile tab. So this is details about the agency as a whole. And if you come into the org profile, the primary authorized agent has the ability to update the physical address with your organization. You can see a listing of all of the authorized agents that are authorized to act on behalf of your agency. So this is something that you'll periodically want to check to make sure that any turnover that's taken place, that you remembered to notify our office to remove them as a signer on your account. To do that, to either add, remove, or change, we also give you a quick link to the form that you need to fill out, have your agency head sign it, and once we receive that, we can make changes to your authorized agents in our office. We also provide plan information. Each one of the plans that your organization is eligible for will provide a quick link that shows you the contribution rates that your organization is set up for. If it's insurance related, you'll get the current premiums that each one of the plans have, so on and so forth. So that's going to cover your main quick access points here. Next, I'm going to go over the left navigation and talk about features that are present in the left navigation. So the same situation as that payroll reports requiring action, you'll see that little new button anytime that you have messages that are present. And see this first message, you can see we're saying that the employment for Donald Duck was successfully posted. Please have them enroll in the benefit plans in MSS. So that's going to be the first thing that we do after break is take a look at what Donald Duck does to get enrolled in the plans that they are eligible for. And once you've resolved the issue, we'd recommend clearing the message so that you don't have messages that aren't pertinent anymore. Here you can see that payment for that retirement report is required. That's something that we went in and we clicked Debit ACH on before as well. So we know that we've taken care of that. Cleared the message, and now you can see there's nothing available. There's also not that little new button that's present there. Quick link again to the home navigation page. A quick link to the employee pane, which is the same quick link that you got from here. We have a quick link where you can go and you can upload your payroll reports. This is the same that we showed earlier where you grab your text file, submit it to our office. Quick link to payroll reporting where you can take a look at all your payroll details again. And then also a quick link to all of the physical forms. So most things that can be done within PERS can be done electronically. There are a handful of things that require physical forms, things like the notice of appointment for your authorized agent. If you are submitting a change in how your employee is withholding or who's paying what for retirement contributions, we require physical forms. Updating your bank account with our office, those things all require a physical form, but the majority of information for both our members and our employers can be done electronically. All of these enrollments can be done electronically. We do need the beneficiary forms. That needs to be a physical form because a lot of those instances we also need a spousal consent or sign off which means we can't submit that electronically. But the majority of what you are seeing in here can be done electronically, either within ESS or electronically by the members within MSS. We also provide more quick links to the org profile. And as you can see, if it's important, we give you 3 or 4 ways to access the information. So again, same screens that we looked at previously. A quick link to the report section where you can run your benefit enrollment report and these other reports that we've got out here for you. Process payroll files is the section that Robin was mentioning. If you've submitted a payroll report to our office, you wait 3-4 minutes and you see that the report hasn't submitted, you can also come out here and do a search. And let's just say I want to see what was submitted in the last couple of days. And you can see that the reports were successfully created on these 2 that we submitted both today and the one that I submitted a couple of days ago to have something here for testing purposes. Report created, it basically means it's out there, it's ready for your review. So you can go out and take a look. Payment history, if you want to take a look at all of the payments that we have received or payments from a specified period of time, we basically give you the ability to search all the way back to October of 2010 when we went live in our system. So you can see all of the payments that have ever been made, how you made the payment, whether it was an ACH pull, if you paid by check in the past before we moved to this new process. It'll basically tell you the day we got the money, the amount that we received, which plan it was for, as well as how the payment was made. My second favorite feature of ESS is actually this button. It's the upload document button. And we get forms from a variety of different ways from our employers. You can mail in forms, you can fax in forms, you can email forms, snail mail, and you can also use this upload document panel within ESS. Unfortunately, we also have employers that submit the same paperwork through all 5 methods, and that's something that is a frustration in our office. If you submit paperwork, please just assume that we get it. If we don't get it, our processes will catch it and will follow up at that point in time. But the easiest way to know whether we got something or not is not by snail mail. It's not by email in case the firewalls strip attachments. It's not by fax, something that may or may not have gone through. The easiest, most secure, and quickest way to get information to us is using this feature. And basically all you have to do is you have to browse. Let's just say Donald Duck turned in his beneficiary form and I want to submit it. You find it on your computer, you upload it, and it will tell you that we successfully received it. That's what our agency prefers. And the way that we're going to see it on our side is the naming convention is going to be Donald Duck beneficiary form _ 400063, which is your org ID, _ 2862. So we know exactly what organization submitted this and also what authorized agent within that organization submitted this material to our office. So if we get something, we have questions on it, we know exactly who to reach out to. That's why we prefer this methodology. And so the quicker you can get to using that, the more accustomed you can be to using it. That's the quickest and most secure way for us to receive even the most confidential type of document, because everything that is taking place within ESS is behind the state firewall. And so you will not find a more secure repository than this feature. Robin touched on earlier about reporting a problem. So if you have certain situations going on with retirement, insurance, deferred comp, or just ESS in general, you can fill out the information and just say, my remittance report won't print. When you save it, you're going to notice that there's a history down here. And as we respond, you'll be able to see what we're responding with electronically within this ticket. So it's a way to submit problems electronically. If you don't want to email or don't want to call our office, that's another opportunity for you. Under the training opportunities, we have a quick link to our website showing all of the events. This can show you all of the payroll training that we have, the board meetings that we have. We're starting to get into quarterly lunch and learns where our counselors are providing really great educational opportunities to our membership through a quarterly lunch and learn. If you ever have questions on what's upcoming, please feel free to visit our website. We maintain this site, we keep it updated, and it's a great way to just see what kind of opportunities that you may have. Reporting a death is another really important feature that we talk about. And as you can imagine, if you happen to have an employee that passes away, the type of communication from our office is drastically different if somebody passes away or if they're terminating. And if you know that one of your employees passed away and you just go into ESS and you terminate them, we have no way of knowing that an individual is deceased or not. And so what happens is we process paperwork like that employee is leaving your agency. You know, we'll send information like, John Doe, you have this amount of money in your retirement account. Here are your options. But if someone passes away, it's a drastically different outreach to a different population. You're obviously not communicating with that employee, you're communicating with their beneficiaries, so on and so forth. And so please be sensitive, because when someone passes away, it's a really hard time for that family. The last thing that our office wants to do is cause frustration by sending out information that is speaking to a member like they're still alive if they're not. And so please just be aware that hopefully you don't run into that situation, but if you do, please make sure you're reporting it to our office as a death and not just as a termination, so that we do the proper type of communication. And finally, we have the resource library, which is a one-stop shop for your ESS employer guide. This is like a physical training manual that we've put together for you to walk through ESS. We also have just some quick steps on how to quickly create payroll reports for deferred comp, retirement, and service purchases, and also a link to the memo talking about how to avoid common mistakes that employers run into when they're going through payroll reporting. Also has information on all of the plans that our office has as well.
Someone asked if you get more information when the file is uploaded instead of us creating the report. The information received should be the same because we have a template that is required in a certain layout and it contains the same information. The biggest difference in between uploading a file and manually creating the report is the amount of work that you have to do, because if you manually create the report, you have to enter the wages for all of your employees, which, depending on how large your agency is, can take some time. So that might be where it would be beneficial to upload a payroll report. The last question was, when a new employee is married and I'm trying to get their PERS ID before they come in to do their payroll papers, it can't be done due to the requirement of spouse information. Does that have to be required before an ID can be received? So what you can do is you can enroll this person as single and then make sure you provide PERS with the instruction that the employee is married and give them the spouse's name and date of birth. That should be something you're able to attain easily from your employee. And then once you get this social security number, then you can notify PERS of that information as well. So enroll them as single, make sure you notify PERS, this is the spouse's information, this person's married, give them the name, date of birth, and once you obtain that social security number, that can be provided at a later date.